Mark is a young man and he is 25 years old and he is very happy. He has a girlfriend and her name is Laura and she is 24 years old and very beautiful. They are a young couple in love and they stay together every day in their small city. They plan a very happy trip together on a very big and very white cruise ship. The ocean is very blue and the sky is very clear and the sun is hot. They feel very free and very excited about the long journey on the big water. Mark and Laura pack their big bags with many summer clothes and many hats and sunglasses. They walk to the big ship and they see the many people and the many flags. Laura smiles and she says, "Mark, this is the best day of my young life." Mark looks at her and he says, "I am very happy because you are happy, Laura. The ship is very, very large and it is full of people from many different places. There is music and there is food and there are many bright lights and much laughter." Laura feels very happy and she wants to celebrate this special trip on the blue ocean. She looks at the big rooms and she looks at the big swimming pools on the ship. Mark and Laura walk together and they hold hands because they are very much in love. At night, there's a very big party on the deck of the big white ship. Loud music plays and people dance and people drink together under the many stars in sky. Laura is very excited and she starts to drink many colorful drinks very fast. The drinks are sweet and cold and Laura says, "I want to dance and drink tonight." Mark watches her and he smiles at first because he wants Laura to be happy. After some time, Laura starts to walk very slowly and she laughs too much and too loud. Her eyes look very tired and her words are not clear when she talks to Mark. Mark looks at his girlfriend and he feels a little bit worried in his heart. Mark says, "Laura, please slow down and do not drink more of those colorful drinks." Laura laughs again and she says, "I am fine, Mark. I am very, very happy." She takes another drink and she raises her glass to the big moon in the dark sky. The music gets louder and louder and the floor of the ship feels like it moves. Laura tries to dance, but her legs are very weak and her head is very light. Mark feels very worried and he puts his hand on her small arm. He says, "Laura, let's go to the room. You drank too much." Laura pulls her arm away and she shakes her head and she looks at the ocean. She says, "No, Mark, I do not want to go to the room tonight," she says. "I want fresh air and I want to see the big black ocean." Laura walks to the side of the ship and she walks very slowly and badly. Mark follows her and he stays very close because the night is very dark. The wind is very strong and the night air is very cold on the big deck. The ocean looks endless and it looks very black and very deep under the ship. Laura leans on the metal railing and she laughs again at the sound of water. Mark stands very close to her and he says, "Laura, please be very careful." He wants to hold her, but Laura moves her body and she smiles big. Suddenly Laura loses her balance because the ship moves and she is very drunk. Her body moves forward very fast over the metal railing and into the dark night air. Mark reaches for her small hand and he shouts her name with a very loud voice. He screams, "Laura!" but his fingers touch only the cold air and the dark wind. Laura falls down into the dark and cold ocean below the very big ship. The sound of her body hitting the water is very quick, and then there is silence. Mark screams her name again and again, but the ocean is very loud and very dark. He hits the red alarm button on the wall and he shouts for help. People start to run and they look over the railing into the black water. Someone yells, "Man overboard!" and the people on the ship feel a very big fear. The big ship stops very slowly because it is a very large and heavy boat. Many big lights point to the black water, but the ocean is very deep and big. The rescue team arrives very fast with many small boats and many orange life jackets. A helicopter comes with a big light and it searches the ocean for the girl. Mark sits on the cold floor and he is shaking and crying very much. He keeps saying, "It is my fault. I should stop her from drinking." His hands feel very cold and his heart feels like it is broken into pieces. Hours pass and the ocean stays very quiet. And the waves move very slowly. The wind is very strong and the moon is behind the clouds in the dark. No body is found and no sign of Laura appears in the water. The captain of the ship talks to Mark with a very serious and sad face. He says, "Mark, we searched everywhere with the boats and the lights and the helicopter." The captain says, "We will continue to search, but the ocean is very big and deep." Mark feels very empty inside his chest and he cannot sleep or eat food. He looks at the black water every day and he waits for a miracle. Days later, the search stops because the rescue team finds nothing in the big blue ocean. Laura's body is never found and the water keeps its secret in the deep, dark. Mark goes home alone to his small city and his small house with no girlfriend. Laura's room is very quiet and it is full of many happy memories and pictures. Her clothes are still in the closet and her phone is very silent. Sometimes Mark hears her voice in his head when he is alone in his house. He remembers her beautiful smile and her happy laugh and her voice in the night. He asks himself many questions. Why did I go on that ship with her? He thinks about the colorful drinks and the loud music and the strong wind. He thinks about the black ocean and the metal railing and the cold water. This is the story of Mark and Laura and the big trip on the ship. It is a story of a great love and a very big and sad loss. It shows how one night can change everything forever for a young couple in love. Mark is 25 years old and his life is very sad and very quiet. He never wants to see the ocean or a big ship again. The weeks pass and Mark does not want to go to work or talk. He sits in the kitchen and he looks at the chair where Laura sat. He remembers her favorite coffee and the way she liked to eat her bread. He looks at her shoes near the door and he starts to cry again. The house feels very big because she is not there to talk or sing. Mark's mother comes to the house and she says, "Mark, you must eat something." Mark says, "I am not hungry, Mother. I only want to see Laura one more time." His mother is very sad and she stays with him in the quiet house. She helps him clean the rooms, but she does not touch Laura's beautiful blue clothes. They stay in the closet, like a memory of a girl who is gone. One day Mark goes to the park where he and Laura walk together many times. He sees other young couples holding hands and laughing in the bright and warm sun. He sees a girl with blonde hair like Laura and his heart beats fast. But when the girl turns her head, it is not Laura, and he feels sad. He sits on a bench and he thinks about the day they bought tickets. He remembers how Laura was so happy and how she danced in the living room. She said, "Mark, we will see the world and we will be so happy." Mark feels a lot of pain because the world is now a dark place. He thinks about the ocean and how it is very cold and very deep. He thinks about the ship and how it was a place of death. He starts to go to a meeting with other people who lost their loved ones. He talks about Laura, and he talks about the night on the big white ship. He says, "I am 25, and my girlfriend is in the ocean and I am alone." The other people listen and they say, "We understand your pain. Mark, it is hard." He feels a little better because he is not the only person who is sad. He learns that he must live his life even if Laura is not here. He starts to go back to the factory and he starts to work again. His friends at the factory are very kind and they say, "Hello, Mark. We missed you." He works hard and he tries to keep his mind busy with the machines. But every night when he goes home, he thinks about the girl he loves. He buys a small flower and he puts it near a picture of Laura. He says, "I love you, Laura, and I will never forget our happy trip." He knows that the ocean is very big, but his love is bigger. He knows that he cannot change the past, but he can remember her. The story of Mark and Laura is a story that people tell in the town. They tell the story to say, "Be careful and look after the people you love." They say, "One moment can change everything, so be kind and be safe." Mark is a man who learned a very difficult lesson in the dark ocean. He carries the memory of Laura in his heart like a small and bright light. And every time he sees a blue sky, he thinks of her beautiful eyes.